What's up, the squad? Back with another video. I seen the title was going down. Make sure you hit the like button, hit that subscribe button for me, please. Y'all see it right here. Happy New Year to all. Definitely, I'd say it's definitely been a challenging year. I feel like for everybody. I can't even just say for myself, for others that I've talked to. I definitely say everybody. It has been challenging. But I feel it is going to get greater. It's just one of those things of to keep pushing to keep staying positive and to keep praying. I call it 3P. I definitely, go by that, and I try to, as much as possible, seeing how things are going. But I do pray that everybody have an amazing, year. I truly do. For 2026, and to be safe tonight. One thing about it, myself, my family, we are in for the night. I hope so. I don't like jinxing myself, knock on wood, but I don't know. It's just pretty crazy. It's definitely, been pretty crazy within everywhere. And I just pray that everybody has a safe night. I definitely do. If you're watching and you've been somewhere, you're going somewhere, just be safe tonight. Definitely be safe. Y'all got it right here. Elon Musk says Minnesota Governor Tim Walz is a traitor and needs to go to prison. This is a post by Elon Musk saying Traitor Tim needs to go to prison, which I feel a lot of people feel the same way, about that. I'm telling y'all. His other post says become Fraudsters, and they want to obviously do something, horrible to Nick Shirley, for telling the truth, about a lot. From this post, his response from a post, Nick Shirley reveals that he's facing serious threats after exposing billions in alleged Minnesota fraud. Check this out.
They're so mad. The Somalians are so mad because can you imagine? For years, you're at the dinner table talking with your family about how everything's good. Oh, we don't need to worry because the government and whatnot. I mean, 81% of these people are on welfare, but on top of that, they're collecting millions of dollars for these companies. Tax exempt, by the way, especially the daycares. So can you imagine how mad they are now? Like, that's why they're right now, there's, people are so upset. Like, there's, bounties on me here in Minnesota because people are so upset as far as the fraud that's being exposed because they know their time's up and they know everyone's just sick and tired of this happening inside of their own state and across America.
What have some of those threats been?
Yeah, there was apparently a bolo that they used. That's the word that some people told me was on me, and I can't reveal too much just because I don't want to reveal. But lots of messages, death threats, obviously on social media.
That's wild.
And then it's just not the most safe thing for me to be moving around freely right now.
One thing about it, that I definitely say on this video is that, first of all, I can definitely tell that Nick Shirley, I myself, y'all didn't see me and see my face sometimes, when, you get to working too hard. Nick Shirley, definitely you can tell on his face that he's working extremely hard and getting it out there. I always, put that prayer out to him, obviously, for his family and the people around him, and to have that security because definitely pretty crazy. I can't say that I'm surprised, seeing how this world is, and how America is, with, these illegal aliens and what they're doing, and how they're doing it. But one thing about it is that I definitely see, the passion and, the hard work that he's putting out. I definitely see that, and he's actually supposed to be putting out a new video. I don't know if he put it out yet, but he's supposed to be putting out a new video as well. But this video right here says the fraudsters have now placed bounties on Nick Shirley because he exposed the fraud. And it says here Elon Musk said it best. One of the things I learned was, who complains the loudest? The fraudsters. Check it out right here.
Are we going to get a lot of complaints along the way? Absolutely. One of the things I learned at PayPal was who complains the loudest and with the most amount of fake righteous indignation? The fraudsters. Mm-hmm. It's a tell. There's some of these NGOs that are crazy, like the $2 billion to Stacey Abrams NGO that basically didn't exist and suddenly gets $2 billion awarded from the federal government. She has why? And there are many such cases like that.
I think that most people, common sense-wise, would say the fraud's got to end.
Yeah.
They're concerned about the 94-year-old mother who skips a check or somehow doesn't get what she's supposed to get.
Right. And what we're trying to say is actually that the 94-year-old grandmother is actually, as a result of Doja's work, going.
So regardless to the, the fact of what, and taking that of what exactly what he's saying, one of the things I learned was, who complains the loudest is the fraudsters. And one of the things that, I've noticed and I've said plenty of times, to y'all over the last, week, that, a lot that they'll continue to do when it comes to Elon, when it comes to Tim Walz, and when it comes to the people that's actually doing these things, in Minnesota, they do nothing but blame. They don't take no accountability. They do nothing. And I'll show you on why, on what I mean by that here in a minute. But you literally have that. It's one of those things, and just like Elon is about displaying here, that, they're trying to, turn, and I've said this before, they're trying to turn Minnesota into, Somalia, as we know, and one thing about it is that I definitely love the simple fact that you have more independent journalists, individuals that are going there, and doing these things, yes, I know you have people that's like, oh, why are they going there now? All because of Nick Shirley. I feel like it's a great thing. I truly feel like it's a great thing, and I almost want to go, to Minnesota, and do, more and go to these businesses. Like I've said, on my last video, because I feel like this is something that's very important. I truly feel like this is something that's very important. Check it out, Elon Musk.
People say like this is fake. I'm like, actually, well, let's look at, Ilhan Omar, who was voted into Congress by, large group of people from Somalia who are in Minnesota, which is really far from Somalia. Or Mamdani, who was voted to be mayor, but by a majority of people who are not born in America. That's my understanding, at least. And then California is a big time situation. So I don't know. We just don't want to turn into a communist hellhole, basically.
So basically, with a lot of this is that you can definitely tell. I posted a video. I'm pretty sure it wasn't that long ago. I posted a video, and you have these different, and it's different videos of Ilhan Omar actually saying, and they'll say it like openly, that they want to change, and they want, Minnesota basically to be, even Tim Walz, change the flag. Like it's a lot of things that's given out that they want to change, Minnesota to that, and it's definitely insane. The things that's going down in Minnesota right now. You have right here, says Tim Walz is a fraud himself. It's not just that he's allowed fraud to happen; he is fraud. It's literally, and I say this, and people have, they use that word, allegedly and stuff like that. I feel like we've seen so many things when it comes down to what's going on in Minnesota that you don't even have to use that word. Like, obviously, I got to. I ain't trying to get in trouble or anything. But I'm just saying, like, I truly feel like it's just all there. It's truly all there. And I say that, so make sure y'all stay tuned for my next video too, because I can't say too much because I got another banger I'm gonna drop for y'all. But I'm telling y'all, a lot of this is making sense. As every day, you're seeing, these independent journalists, you're seeing more of Nick Shirley. Because again, he's going different days. He just doesn't go, just this one time. He's going different days, and there's other, individuals that's going and exposing this, and not just the daycares, everything, the restaurants, the healthcare businesses, everywhere. Check it out.
Yeah, Trace, great to be with you. Happy New Year. Unfortunately, this is not a happy story for my state. Tim Walz is a fraud. Himself. It's not just that he's allowed fraud to happen. He's a fraud. You can't believe a word that comes out of his mouth. He's lied about his military record. He's lied about something as dumb as when he was at Tiananmen Square and he was caught on national TV. His whole thing here is to deflect to someone else. The fact is he has prosecuted no one. We have been sounding the alarm on this fraud now for years, and no one in the Minnesota media, well, I should say almost no one, would even bother to report on it. Our U.S. Attorney's Office estimates the fraud trace could be as high as $9 billion. It's not just daycare centers, it's autism centers, it's housing stabilization funds. We've got the largest pandemic fraud case, $250 million in the country. And this has all been under Tim Walz' watch. And to show you just how disingenuous this guy is, 2 weeks ago, he created a new position for someone to investigate fraud because the headline in our worthless local paper was, Tim Walz is trying to get ahead of the fraud. Well, guess what? It's 7 years too late. It's cost
I think 12 years too late.
Minnesota taxpayers billions. You put on an HHS person who pointed out this money is being stolen from people that need it, children, disabled, single mothers, and it's being shipped to al-Shabaab terrorists in Somalia. Tim Walz needs to be held accountable. He needs to answer for this, and God bless President Trump for making this a national issue. And Trace, thank you for reporting on it.
And one thing about it is that I feel like Tim Walz, he's definitely trying to get, in a sense, ahead of it and trying to do everything he can. Again, y'all have to stay tuned for my next video that I'm dropping tonight. I'm telling y'all, and it explains more on why. But he's definitely trying. They're all trying. They're trying to do multiple things. I can't wait till I drop the next video, y'all. I'm not going to lie. I was geeked about this one, but the next one, it goes into, explaining. That's why I do this, so I'm not having a very, very long, video, because I have so much I want to go over. But this right here says CNN hack just called Scott Jennings, racist for exposing $9 billion in Minnesota fraud. I'm telling y'all. This stuff is insane. They try to use this, and they try to, okay, we're about to, I that's one thing that I cannot stand. Okay, let's call this individual this, or let's bring race into it, because no, fraud is fraud. That's how I look at it. Check it out.
They're rounding up everybody who is involved in fraud.
No, they're not rounding up everybody. They're all talking about Somalis. That's the point.
I want them to round up anyone who is involved in defrauding American taxpayers of what apparently amounts to $9 billion in a very, very small state. Somali, whether they're citizens, immigrants, white, I don't care.
You don't care if they
target
target one
fraud to stop.
But do you support the targeting of this one community or not?
I support the
you think
targeting.
That's the right thing to do?
I support the targeting of people engaged in fraud.
But do you support the targeting of the Somali American community as directed by the President of the United States based on their ethnicity?
That's not what he said.
That's it.
That is precisely what he said.
If they are engaged in fraud and because they're American citizens, should that make them immune?
That's a straw man argument.
No.
Just answer the question.
I did.
Should we
I want
target
anyone
people
involved in
based on
fraud
their
to be targeted.
ethnicity?
Anyone involved in fraud.
But not based on their ethnicity.
I want it based on whether they're involved in fraud.
Is it really so hard to answer that question?
Yes.
Scott?
I want it.
Yes.
Is it so hard
the only
to sit there and
criteria
say we shouldn't target people based on their ethnicity?
The only criteria I have is fraud.
We shouldn't target people based on their ethnicity? I can say that.
Can you say that?
I can say
Everyone here can say targeting people based on their ethnicity is bad.
You shouldn't
Scott
target
Jennings won't say that. Why won't you say that?
Because I don't agree that that's what's happening. I don't agree with your fallacy. I don't agree with your stupid.
Ad hominem attacks are the lowest form of argument, Scott.
The lowest form of argument is to come out here and accuse me of some kind of race-based argument. There's $9 billion in fraud,
what you believe,
and you don't care. That's the main problem.
So look, hold on a second. Hold on a second.
I want to say something, and this video is over, but I want to say something now. I don't care how anybody slices it. When it's fraud involved, regardless, it can be $1 million, it can be 2 million, it can be 500,000, it can be 10,000, it can be whatever. Fraud is fraud. It's not that it's just, oh, okay, we got Nick Shirley's just out here and he's at one business. Bro, it's literally so many daycares. It's so many daycares that he didn't expose. Not only daycares, restaurants, healthcare businesses. I truly don't. I'm not really getting it right now. You know what I mean? I'm truly not getting it right now. And they try to make it seem this way, and it's not right. It's truly not right, and it's not okay. I'm telling y'all. Since thousands of patriots are standing up for Nick Shirley, and calling out the fake news. I'm telling y'all, this young black woman just ended CNN. Y'all know, and this is a post, y'all can find it at MAGA Voice. I know y'all gonna be like, oh, it has nothing to do with color. That's what the post says. This young black woman just ended CNN. And one thing about it, I know, again, this is not, so much about race. It has nothing to do with race. It's fraud. But at the same time, it just goes to show you that people are waking up, and it's not stop with the race stuff. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things. Check it out right here.
I'm literally running errands and like moving boxes, and I just had to make this video because I'm looking at the gaslighting that's happening from the left-wing legacy media, where they are largely not reporting on this. And then they're sending like New York Times writers out to say the fraud might be happening. And here's some common things that we're hearing. It's right-wing propaganda. This is an attempt by the right. This is about white supremacy. This is racism. I saw a Black American woman. They pushed her out there to say, hey, you know what? Don't worry about the fraud that's going on here with Somalians nationwide. We need to focus on white people. This is white people. Even Governor Walz was asked about the fraud, which, by the way, he's already on record admitting to the fraud. He's now trying to say he was aware of the fraud and he was trying to help. But then you have left-wing media at the same time saying there is no fraud, or there may be fraud, or that it's fake news, that it's propaganda. So which is it? Is Walz apologizing for the failure because of something that never... I'm literally running...
I'm telling y'all, it's definitely sad. It's definitely sad. I truly don't get it. I truly don't get it. People are saying smart woman. People are saying I stand with Nick Shirley. Love it. I'm telling y'all, good talk. And somebody said, why didn't you just say this, young woman? I'm just saying, yeah. That's one thing about it. That's definitely one thing about it. It's saying that, and that's why I said that, at the beginning, because it has nothing to do. I don't feel like it has nothing at all. People may think different, but me personally, stating the facts, it's nothing to do with color. It's just fraud. And it's literally Minnesota. You're sitting there with Tim Walz, Ilhan Omar, Keith Ellison, and many other people, that are doing this, and that are obviously okay with, this happening. I'm telling y'all. Make sure you hit the like button, hit that subscribe button for me, please. Stay tuned for the next video dropping tonight. Catch y'all next one.